Uh, the Democrats have been trying to push for a bill that would raise the minimum wage to 15, but progressives say it isn't good enough, and they want to push for 20. Um, Technically, when you raise the minimum wage, cost of living goes up, and then it would defeat the purpose. But I'm all for a $15 an hour minimum wage, or even a possible 20. Joe Biden and a strong majority of the congressional Democrats say that they can pass a bill to increase the hourly minimum wage to 15 an hour or more by March with or without any Republican support. Biden and the top Democratic lawmakers have reignited a push to increase the federal minimum wage for the first time in 12 years, promoting legislation that aims to pull 28 million full-time workers out of poverty by 2024. Biden had said Friday that he will not accept any ifs, ands, or buts from Republicans who are dragging their feet on the passage of the next stimulus relief package. Incoming Senate Budget Committee Chairman Bernie Sanders said he's prepared to jam a $15 an hour minimum wage measure through with the Democrats' current 51 vote majority as soon as possible. But citing the passage of 23 state level minimum wage increases since 1998, the majority leader Chuck Schumer said that passage of a COVID-19 relief bill um, that includes the $15 an hour hourly hike is doable by March. The U.S. poverty rate recorded its worst spike since 1960s at the end of 2020, according to recent economic studies. Biden is also simultaneously supporting a $1,400 stimulus check and $130 billion bill to assist the safe reopening of public schools across the country as part of the next stimulus package. Some progressives, some progressive Democrats say that they would get behind a minimum wage increase um, larger than 15 an hour, citing studies that shows there was only a handful of states were working 40 hours on $15 on 15 that if you were working 40 hours on a $15 an hour wage, it only affords you one bedroom, like a one bedroom apartment. So with the economic divide, I mean, I want to see. With the economic divide, I mean, I want to see a $15 an hour minimum wage, but it actually should be $20 an hour," said Representative Rashida Tlaib, who's a Michigan Democrat, according to an Associated Press article published on Saturday. Democrats have cited an Economic Policy Institute study which found that 1 in 9 U.S. workers are paid wages that keep them in poverty despite working full time. The Congressional Budget Office research suggests that 27 million Americans could be pulled out of poverty by a $15 an hour wage hike, but 1.3 million workers could lose their jobs because companies would reduce the workforce in order to pay workers the higher rate, something that Republicans have dubbed a no-go amid pandemic job losses. Moderate Republicans, including Alaska Senator Lisa Murkowski and the Representative Tom Reed of New York, agree with raising the minimum wage, but expressed worries to the Associated Press about including such legislation in the next COVID-19 relief bill. The more you throw this into the bucket of COVID relief that's not really related to the crisis, but the more you risk the credibility with the American people that you're really sincere about the crisis. Reid the Associated Press. Murkowski agreed and said that tying the $15 an hour minimum wage hourly wage hike to the pandemic relief bill does complicate politically an initiative that we should all be working together to address. The House last week had reintroduced the Raise the Wage Act, which had passed in 2019 before dying in the Senate um, under the then GOP Majority Leader Moscow Mitch, but now emboldened by majorities in both the House and Senate. Democratic leaders, including House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Schumer, cite studies that say that the minimum wage hike will bring 27 million workers above the poverty line. The current 725 the 725 an hour federal minimum wage requirement was put in place in 2009, and that was the last time it was raised. But the federal income wage has not kept pace with rising inflation and prices of goods and services nationwide, representing about 17% less than it did in 2009. In May of 2007, former Republican President George W. Bush had signed the law that increased the minimum wage at the time from $5.15 an hour to $7.25 over the course of the next 2 years. The legislation received the support of every Democratic member of the House in addition to 82 Republicans. But the hourly wage of $7.25 an hour means an individual is making less than $15,000 a year. Democrats have for years proposed a minimum wage hike, but such efforts have failed at the federal level due to the GOP opposition. Biden's nominations of labor union-backed cabinet members and the cabinet leaders, including Boston Mayor Marty Walsh and House and Ways Committee, the trade lawyer Catherine Tai. They have promoted optimism across the board, but current House had backed minimum wage hikes also um, seek to phase out tipped wages by 2027, but no one in America should work 40 hours a week making below the poverty line. $15 an hour does get people above the poverty line, Biden said at the White House last week, and so does $20 an hour. But let's go with the 15 first, and then we'll find out from there. But yeah.